A shout out to Ge.Holla and
Hey, Ge.Holla, G.Holla.
Ge.Holla, show me the God here, man.
All y'all said entertainer, shout out my guy Ge.Holla.
Rocking right now with Ge.Holla, celebrity life.
Shout out to Ge.Holla, reaching 1 million listeners on his podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Man, we find some of the dopest, some of the coolest, some of the smoothest individuals that have ever lived. This time right here, this young man is such a creative force. I mean, behind just luxury and art, talent, and geniusness. You know what I'm saying? Your clothes represent an extension of your mentality psychologically if you want to really break it down. So if you really want to stand out in the crowd, you really want to be above the rest, y'all got to tap in with this young man because he's going to have you sitting with the best. Tamil Robinson. What's going on, my good brother? What's happening?
Hey, what's going on, man? It's a pleasure to be on your show, man. I appreciate it. Looking cool yourself. I see the jacket, man. The jacket is smoking.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, come on now. We got to do something now. Don't just show up raggedy. So you are amazing talent. You are amazing, brother. I would love to get into your story so the people, especially on my channel, that's getting to know you, will get a greater understanding of who you are.
Man, I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, right on the west, and we call it the West Ward, so the west side. That was our district high school, was West Side. So that's where I'm from, born and raised there. But Newark is the largest city in New Jersey. That's the the capital is Trenton, but Newark is the biggest city there. You have the port there, Newark Airport, of course, Newark Liberty Airport. So we're minutes away from NYC, just a train ride away, like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Newark at the time, when I was coming up, I was post riots and everything like that. You had all the riots that was going on, post riots back in the day. That wasn't like a nice place to look at the time. So it was a decayed place, but coming up, and we all from the inner city, so the whole story, and how that came about. With me, I had a natural born talent as an artist. So I went to an art school. Actually, it was like a performing arts school in Newark, New Jersey called Arts High School. So that's basically where I got my go-to to get away from, things that you could have went through this way or that way and been, in some trouble. But with my talent, I wanted to use it and expand on it. So I went to art school. My parents put me in art school pretty much my whole adolescent life. And I graduated from there with visual arts. So I'm a master airbrush painter, watercolors, pen and ink, oils, gouache, you name it. I've done it there. And that school was pretty much like, if you would ever watch the TV show or the movie Fame, that's basically that school, but in real life, After that, I took off into the whole, we had the 80s, hip hop was just birthing itself and growing. So we had a lot of influences with streetwear. My uncles were dapper. So they wore a lot of suits and ties and things. They were dressed to kill. So I had I had the best of both worlds as an artist, a stylish person, and looking at stylish uncles dressed to kill, and then, putting our own spin in it with streetwear, breakdancing and things like that, and the whole graffiti era, because I was like a, graffiti artist as well. So I had so many different avenues creatively with my mind that it pretty much kept me out of trouble, But that's basically how I came up. I mean, this is just, I'm pretty much in my creative space, so I have things all over the place, and just being in here is pretty much like my utopia. So I can be anywhere in the world because I traveled the world, with my talent. And basically here houses, pretty much most of my ideas and things that I've created globally, with all my production capabilities here and there across the globes with different fashion makers, with if you would call it that, some the regular people call it factories. We call it the mechanics of things, because we really have like the artisan hands touching it, the seamstresses, the cutters, the pattern makers, in which I had I had a mentor actually here in the United States, but he passed away in 2005 of cancer. His name was Glenn Sr. I always mention him because he took me to a whole other place creatively with my talent, basically saying, hey, you come from streetwear, you come from sports licensing and things like that. You with all the things that you encompass, you can become a real fashion house instead of just a clothing line or a clothing brand, which doesn't have the lifespan of a house. So a house would basically take you through generations because I can create those different things with my artistic talent originally, and those will be exclusive to the house. Like you see this textile pattern I'm wearing right now is our Geo pattern. You would see that on the leather of the bags here. If I can reach, see if I can reach back here really quick and show you. So this same Geo pattern that I have on this polo shirt is the same Geo pattern that you see quilted on this leather bag here. And you would actually see this same Geo pattern. This is the continuity of a house. So your pattern should be able to encompass the whole brand. So it should be able to go through fabrics, silks, wovens, knits, printing, of course, linings, which I'm about to show you right now, from this bag here. I'm gonna get it open. So you see that same Geo pattern with the silk satin lining here of this bag. So, and it all encompasses the inside, the outside, the whole aesthetic of the bag. And that's basically how you can consider yourself a house, because you have all those components that can go from textiles to accessories to let me show you real quick, footwear. So you see that same Geo pattern on this running shoe here. So that can go back to other colorways and other patterns that we can do, in sportswear, what have. So, my background is sports licensing. So everybody from like T.O. to Tom Brady has worn my uniforms on field because I did those Pro Bowl uniforms for NFL. So that's basically, yeah. So my background, most of it was sports licensing, which fueled the back end of building the House of Amiyah. That's how I, got around to building that. But, it takes things to funnel back into. You have to keep reinvesting and keep reinventing and building and building. So you accumulate so many different categories where you become a house naturally.
I love what you're saying because, I study like esoteric and like the flower patterns of life and the geometric shapes and things of that nature. And I attribute a lot of my journey to geometry and things of that nature. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And what's really amazing, when you first saw those different patterns, I know you was drawn to them. What did you first feel when you saw it? Did you know, like, okay, this is it. I know I found the pattern that I've been looking for.
Well, I have an array. I have a library of textile patterns that exclusively for the House of Amiyah, all moods and all textiles. So this is just one of 100 you may see that we would bring out. Yeah. So now let me show you something here. So say for instance, you see the handle on this bag here, right? The Nato part. So you see that handle, that's the Amiyah logo, which has the same continuity as the Geo pattern that I'm wearing now, which has the same continuity of the lining of the bag, right? So with that's just one pattern, but I created something like what you're wearing right now, which is called the paisley. So you have a paisley pattern. So I have my own paisley design derived from the textile of the logo. So from the DNA of this logo, you will see the paisleys, you will see florals, you'll see check plaids, you'll see pinstripes, but it's all in the image of the Amiyah logo, which means strength and balance. So this is an architecturally done. So I've worked for an architect for a few years too as well, coming out of college. So I wanted to encompass all of my talents, all of my experiences in the visual arts, architectural arts, and interior design. So that's basically how I came up with those textile patterns. So my mentor was saying, hey, listen, you're more like a house than a streetwear designer or a t-shirt collection guy or sports licensing guy. He said, even with the streetwear, he said, that's going to have a lifespan of like 10 years. So I used to think he was hating, because he was from the old school. Like, man, why are you hating on the streetwear, man? We got graffiti going on. We got this. And you had all the brands that were breaking out back in the day, your cross colors, your core canals. But he used to say, listen, it's cool because we did that in the 60s with the hippie days, painting on our jeans, putting flowers on and ripping. So he's basically saying your streetwear is just a rebirth or an evolvement of what we used to do that has a shelf life. But a house, you can encompass everything. He said, you went to interior design school. I said, yeah. I mean, you have textile knowledge, you have aesthetic knowledge, you work for an architect. He said, put all that together. Let it say Amiyat without me seeing the word Amiyat. So he said, go back to the drawing board. Let me see what you have. So I came up with all these textile patterns. So I did, and I used the original textile names that you would know, like what you're wearing on your jacket: paisley, plaids, polka dots, flame stitch. So I have an exclusive textile pattern for each one of those traditional textile names that you would see in real life of fashion. So the same check plaid, so the same houndstooth pattern that you would see all the time in everyone else's collection, I couldn't compete, you know, with the big houses of the world, because first of all, I'm first generation everything with this. Second, we don't have the 200 years lineage like a LVMH, a House of Vuitton, or Comme des Garçons, you know, those type of, you know, the House of, we just don't have that lineage right now. So we're we're first generation everything. We're the first generation totally free to build this for the next generation. So that's where my mindset is at. So for me, you know, God willing, I could see it even go further with the foundation, but I want to see it go 200 years, but you know, we won't be here. But at the same time, this can happen because look at Vuittons. You're talking about the 1800s. That's 200 years ago. So and it's still thriving, it's still building, but it was a stepping stone and a stepping stone and a stepping stone. So you have family members that took that over and over and over and over. So that's pretty much what this is here. All moods and all. This is what the House of Fashion is, of Amiyat is. So we want to create jobs. We want to build, like here in the United States, in, you know, in the inner cities, which we promote, we purchase, you know, we have purchasing power. And I'm not just saying that because it sounds like a cliche, because everybody says that, but it's a reality that and it's a mission that I must leave something to go on. So my daughters can take it over, just like the Fendi sisters and, you know, things like that. So this is what this path is. It's not just about we looking fresh, because we could do that all day long.
Hey, that's true. That's true. I love what you're saying, brother. What you're saying is fundamentally true, and we need more brothers like you. I get it. Everybody want to jump into the rap game. Everybody want to be musicians. Nothing is wrong with that, but we need some more fashion designers like yourself. We need some more patterns to discover in nature so we can find out who we truly are and create the real generational wealth, like you're saying, not in the short term. That's cool, but like you're saying, for the long run, you being a mirror reflection image 200-300 years in like down the line of our timeline, that is dope. That is futuristic thinking. Like, you're so far ahead of the game. You're light years ahead of people, and man, that's amazing to meet somebody like you. I love to hear you talk, man. That's dope.
I mean, you know, the knowledge is power, and I love spreading the knowledge, and I just really thank you, because, you know, it's hard to fathom, you know, a person like myself, a house like this that exists coming from the inner city strictly, you know, even with my background with arts high school and then going to art college and going to interior design school, it's still hard to fathom to this day a real true house like this that mirror images, or if not the same, or if not better than a House of Vuitton, LVMH. And I used to get a little frustrated, but now I respect it, because you got to understand something. 200 years ago, we weren't at that position. So I had to recondition my mind to say, you know what? I have to start this. You know, our ancestors did what they were supposed to do in the time that they had to do it the best way they could, so we can be able to set this off. So it's hard to fathom this, because it's easy to fathom, hey man, you know what? I got Tamil Robinson on, he getting ready to drop this new album, blah, blah, blah. It's the new hit record, blah, blah, blah. Or hey, Tamil Robinson is on, he just signed to the Miami Heat. We can fathom that, because that's inner city dreams that can come true, and it's always coming along. It's always coming along since Dr. J, you know, even probably before Bill Russell, those type of guys, like, you know, that some of these young guys don't know about, or just maybe learning in history, but you can still fathom that. You can't fathom this. At this bag here represents fashion, aesthetic, architectural aesthetic, balance, creativity, like the check, like this geo check plat that we this weave pattern that we did. Like you see this weave, you see a weave pattern in, say for instance, Bottega Veneta, but I can't do the same weave because they already have the regular box weave. So I had to die cut my logo into this weave pattern, the house, which gives it much more of a value because a buyer can say, well, I don't have that. That's creative. That's different, you know? So with that being said, it's pretty much hard to fathom this going in. And now you can see it on a sofa. You see what I'm saying? So this transcends from fashion to home decor, even here with the geo pattern, right? With the geo pattern that's pillow stitch and quilted here, that could be inside of a Corvette, you see? So this is a true house when you can take that brand and transcend it and move it into different categories. I'm a natural artist and painter. So with the cosmetics that we're going to develop, we mix our own colors. You can fathom that because I'm a true artist, so I can mix paints, I can mix colors. Whereas you have, and no disrespect, you have like a, say for instance, a celebrity brand, you know good and well they're not, you're not, you know, they're with the chemist and with the, you know, the people that's making the actual, they're mixing that because they have no knowledge of the color theory of the tertiary colors, the secondary color, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's more of the love of it, building the foundation of it for a true house. And this will create major jobs, CEOs, CFOs, you know, design assistants, pattern makers. Like we can really build that. But it all starts with the foundation.
Man, let me tell you how dope you are. And maybe you know this, and maybe it's in your subconscious. It's definitely in your soul. You definitely are old soul, what they would call a star seed, a indigo, the chosen ones, one of the ones. I'm just listening to what you're building. Even the name of your company. They're in our great ancestry, back in Kemet, they would call Egypt, but it's really Kemet, land of the black man, black woman. There's a goddess by the name of Ma'at. And I'm looking at the name of your company, and I'm like, and then you keep saying certain clues, you keep hitting me, and I'm like, I gotta know, it's in his spirit. When you say foundation, when you say balance, that's what Ma'at represents. She is the feminine principle of balance in life and motherhood. She is the house, because we know the woman, the black woman, is the original woman on the planet. She is the house. From her, everything is taken from her. And I'm like, man, his similarities of what he's saying, this brother is like on another level. Like you're vibrating at a frequency that people are not even going to understand right now till later, like a Mozart or Leonardo, you know, Da Vinci or something like that. They're going to study you in the future, like for real, because just your very essence of who you are, man, that's amazing, man. I'm enjoying this, man. I'm a fan now. Like,
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, you know, and thank you for breaking it down like that, because you learn something every day. You know, the way you just broke that down, now I feel really even more inspired, more excited, and more honored.